Ben Bradley from BGN notes that now on the IDPH website, as of today, all regions are currently meeting the state's metrics to move to the next phase of reopening May 29th. Obviously, this might change, but can you confirm that that is the case, including the Northeast region?
Every region is so far meeting all the metrics. Remember that they need to go through a time period, and there needs to be an averaging of those metrics during that time period. You can see all the metrics on the IDPH website, but that is true, Ben, that on the website you can see that Chicago and the region surrounding Chicago has now dropped below 20% in terms of positivity rate, and that's a gating factor for moving into the next phase.
And yet at the same time, Governor, I have multiple questions about this. Why should counties and cities, they feel as if they're being punished by being lumped in with Cook County? The suburbs want to separate. I've spoken to several mayors. We've also seen several law enforcement, Kane County, a couple of different counties are saying they're going to ignore the rules. Any wiggle room, any tweaking of the plan to let some of these regions perhaps be redesigned?
Well, you know, the last question sort of begins to answer this question. The answer to the last question does anyway. You can see that every region is poised, if it maintains the metrics that it's at now, to move into phase 3 in a few short days. I mean, literally, we're talking about 14 days. So I think it's useful, though, to note that, look, you could have drawn regions in virtually any which way, and I've said it before. But I want you to pay attention to the reason that we drew the regions as we did. Let me start with the fact that people who live in one area don't necessarily stay in that one area the entire time. They travel outside of the county that they're in or the city that they're in and the immediate area, and they do that frequently. And so we had to account for that as we were drawing the regions. Secondly, the IDPH uses 11 EMS regions. And we asked our medical teams to kind of give us their feedback about how the regions interact with one another and you know, when they need to move around resources and you know, how do those regions interact? And they came back to us and told us that, you know, these are the pairings of regions and that work well together. And then finally, you know, as I say, there's almost any way to draw this map. There are people, you know, who live in one area who say, gee, I don't know anybody who's contracted COVID-19, and therefore, you know, my little area should be let out of some region. But the